Hi there, this is Jonathan Ginsberg, and I want to talk to you today about a situation that I see probably at least every month or so, and that is a situation where somebody calls me up and says, you know, my employer has notified me that my wages are about to be garnished. I have no idea what this is about, and can I do anything? And inevitably, when we look at it, it turns out that this person was sued, doesn't remember being sued. The judgment is obtained, it sits around, and then it could be 10 years later, it pops back up in the most inopportune time. So my point here, I guess, is that if you are sued, and when I mean being sued, it means when a sheriff's deputy knocks at your door, hands you a stack of papers and says you're now being sued, this means that somebody has filed a lawsuit against you and you have got to answer that lawsuit. Typically, you have 30 days, some places it's 20 days, but you have 30 days to file an answer. And the tough part about this is if you don't do anything, nothing happens immediately. So a lot of these cases of people I'm talking to, they were sued, they didn't do anything, they just ignored it, hoping it would go away, and nothing happened. The collection lawyer got the judgment, couldn't find where the guy worked, or maybe he had moved, and sat on it. And that judgment got sold 2 or 3 times. And now, with the advent of internet services that you can find pretty much anybody, and information about where you work and where you live is pretty much at your fingertips, somebody bought this account, somebody bought this judgment for maybe 10 cents on the dollar, and now they found you. So it's really important, I'd say, number one, if you do get sued, to call a lawyer right away. Number two, if you even hear that you've been sued, and again, sometimes you'll get letters, and there's services that basically will sell mailing lists to lawyers and other people of lawsuits. And so if you get one of these letters that refers to a case number, maybe you were sued and didn't even know it. And sometimes it could be that the sheriff's deputy handed it to your kid or to somebody else at the house. But if you haven't even a whiff that you've been sued, you need to look into it. And again, a lot of these courthouses, the clerk's offices are online. If you don't know how to do it, call me or call an attorney. We can track it down and find out if you've been sued. If in fact there was improper service, we can what they call collaterally attack the service, but which means you can say that you weren't properly served and undo the judgment. But if you don't do anything and a judgment hits, you're really very much at risk to have your bank account cleaned out, your wages garnished, all kind of nasty things happen to you. So, and again, I had a case just to talk to a fellow about a week ago, and he had been sued 12, 13 years ago. And what had happened in his case was that the lawsuit was served, there was a judgment, and the collection lawyer didn't know where to find him. He had moved a couple of times, and basically sat on the thing, and then 12 years later found him. Now, if I had gotten a hold of this, 10 years ago, when it had been 3 or 4 years after the judgment and the collection lawyer didn't know where he was, I could have probably settled this thing for 10 cents on the dollar because of the uncertainty. But now the collection lawyer knows where this gentleman, I wouldn't call my client, where this gentleman works, and he's going to be lucky to get this thing settled for cash, which would be 80 cents on the dollar, something like that. So, big picture here is, if you hear any suggestion you've been sued, if you know you've been sued, if you see a case number or something, take some action. Don't wait. It's not going to go away. In Georgia, a judgment will stays valid for 7 years, but if the creditor does anything, makes any kind of collection attempt, does something on the general execution docket, it's very easy to renew. He can renew that judgment indefinitely, certainly for another 7 years. So it's very, very easy to keep a judgment alive. And again, you find these people out there who are buying judgments, and the older they get, the cheaper they are, and they buy them for 5 or 10 cents on the dollar, then they collect on them. And if you happen to be unlucky enough to be the person who now has a good job or has an asset, you'd have to deal with that, and it could be and it's really too old to do much about in terms of challenging it. So don't ignore a lawsuit. If a sheriff's deputy comes to see you, you've been sued, and as difficult as it may be, as unpleasant as it may be, make an effort, find a lawyer, and have one of us, have an attorney look into it and find out what we can do to address the lawsuit and hopefully, possibly a judgment. Of course, if it is a judgment, we can deal with that in bankruptcy sometimes, but you're really better off trying to avoid having judgments hit in the first place. So that's my word of warning to you about lawsuits, to be careful about them and to seek guidance if you think you've been sued. For now, that's all I've got to say about that. Again, this is Jonathan Ginsberg, and any questions, feel free to call me or email me. Thanks a lot.